Hello and welcome to this city skyline tutorial in the real-time mod. I'll be playing on a custom map with the real-time mod settings as follow. And I'll be doing so on this map, which I made specifically for this purpose. It's called New Moon Bay. Well, let's skip the start where I know you how to connect all drain pipes and electricity. The start of this game in the real-time mod is actually exactly as you would imagine in a normal vanilla game. Real changes actually only happen after, well, let's say the first upgrade to Little Hamlet, which will speed up to now. I'm starting in a quite efficient starting position with only minimal utilities. The building construction penalty really delays construction. We'll be making Little Hamlet just before nightfall, which means that we have to install the landfill, but we can wait with building the elementary school, which pumps up the bank. I make sure I build it before the day starts, which is here at 6:45. So everybody who is eligible to go to school will immediately go to school. And so the first school day has started in time on the second day of our little village. In the meanwhile, I'll be expanding. I already keep an eye on building my second elementary school because there will be only 300 students eligible for the elementary school, and it will be really soon that you'll need the second one. So that's what I already took care of. I noticed that I forgot to put in the taxes. I think I do that somewhere later on, but that doesn't really matter. We already reached a worthy village where a fire station and a police station really are necessary because at nighttime fires will break out, and at nighttime the police will be needed because criminals really go out at night. During the day there is less crime than in night. It's one of the really lovely features of this real-time mod. I keep expanding my city as you would do in a vanilla game, adjusting the budget a little bit. But here we go to the second night, and during nighttime I would advise you to pause, or not pause, but look away, walk away from the screen. For me, it takes about 2 minutes to really process the nighttime in real-time game time. In real-time, time. This whole video took me 1 hour and a half, which I put into 15 minutes with all the time speed up. But my computer is not super strong, so it takes some time for this time lapse to go, and I time lapsed it in the editing tool. But in the real game I walk away from the screen, have a drink, go to the toilet or whatever, but that's also good for getting enough exercise, not sitting here behind the computer all the time, and especially not getting weary eyes. The real-time mod actually means the patience mod, because in real time the building construction penalty really forces you to build slower. We reached tiny town, which means the high school. Well, it's during daytime. I built the high school immediately because I do not want to lose any education time, because this education penalty you get is really bad. Your students need 5 days to go through the elementary school, 10 days to go through the high school, and another 5 days to go through college. But there'll be education paradox, which we'll discuss later on when we build the college. At this moment, the first high school students are already eligible, but that's some funny thing. There's a small percentage of new citizens which already has some elementary school um, education level, and quite soon they'll graduate, although they'll not, and the amount of graduated people will rise quite soon for the elementary school. This is not day 5 yet, but this high school starts out at less than 10% effectiveness, but will soon rise to 40, 60, 80 at the end of this episode. It's nighttime again, so here we go doing another time lapse. We'll be reaching Boomtown the next day, I hope. Adjusting the budget for all the facilities or all the utilities which are not operating at night anytime anyway. That means school, beautification, and even the landmarks. Later on, I also put the transportation to 50%. But one of the things I would like you to get from this tutorial is not to build public transport too fast. You don't need it, and it will drain your resources enormously. Putting out some beautification around the central square, which I do now instead of later on when it's going to cost me citizens, which I worked up with some education, which will be a waste of time. As you can see, my little city is getting shape. We'll build this structure actually completely full. At the end of this episode, we'll already start expanding to a second city part, but let's not get ahead of ourselves too much. At this moment in time, you see that the real-time mod does not really have an effect on the gameplay. As long as the city is small, everything is being taken care of. Even with just a 2-lane road access from and going to my residential area, it doesn't even get clogged up, and even so, the congestion is really temporary, just at the time when people go and come from work. We've reached the Boomtown level. Again, I'm sloppy and I forget to put out the recycling policy immediately, but that's actually what you should do. We already filled 2 elementary schools with students, so we'll be soon building the third one, so we can have a maximum of 900 elementary students, which will overflow the high school momentarily, but of course we'll soon build also a second high school, but that will be something for the next episode. Switching over to green energy, going away with the coal. Now we'll be more reliant on wind, but it's a far more cheaper source of energy. There we go for another night, and it's morning again. At night there's no construction, so there's no need to do anything actually, spend any money. Just collect some money and you'll see that money is not an object in this game then anymore. I can see other players struggling with their money, but that's not necessarily. You see I have a nice income, but also little or no expenses. I have no fancy roads. I have some beautification, but it's all the small stuff which cost hardly any upkeep. And at night it doesn't. It even is sliced in half. I have to put out the cemetery because although it's a real-time mod, as soon as the cemetery appears, somebody will die. Somewhere in your city, someone will die. You'll need the cemetery. Although death really doesn't go really hard. Um, I've been playing up till quite a far level where I almost unlocked the harbor. I think I have 36 death or so. Working ahead for the next episode, we're unlocking some more tiles. And we're going through the last night because then we'll be reaching 3,000 inhabitants. We have more than enough cash to build anything we'd like in the second part of this tutorial. But this is just actually to show you how to get started, and the rule of thumb is do as less as possible. Less is more. Make sure education is available because you'll need it to upgrade your houses in to level 2 housing, so your tax income will go up, even level 3 housing or level 4 housing later on, of course. But as I said, for this part of town, that will take a really long time, at least 15 days to get them to through high school, and then they have to go to college. We'll be talking about the college paradox, the education paradox in the next episode. Also, I'll be talking about the waste dilemma. But first now, I'll show you how the second part of the city is going to be connected to this first one. I make this, how do you say, diagonal roads because they actually work as a shortcut. So in most cases they will be used to bypass this central area where the college will be. And because I already built it, I'm going to reserve the space by already putting out the name of it. It's going to be the university, and also placing the city hall because that's actually one of the elementary buildings you'll need in any city, because we'll be reaching some higher status soon enough, and the upkeep is very low. As you can see, tax income is rising. We'll be ready for the next episode. Bye for now.